also.
Okay.
Okay, take it away there, Sierra.
All right. So we'll start with, just what is anxiety? The DSM-5 definition of generalized anxiety, a disorder. The DSM-5, just for some of y'all that may not know, is it's kind of like the diagnostic Bible for clinicians to use to be able to diagnose patients. And based off of this definition, they have it as excessive worry or anxiety for over 6 months. So this is a consistent feeling of anxiety that persists over the course of more than half of a year. And then in addition, it's worry of various events with difficulty controlling and managing symptoms. So this is definitely that overwhelming feeling of now, their anxieties are preventing you from doing events or preventing you from being able to go out and do some of the things that you are wanting to do or able to usually do on a normal basis. And then just to kind of break it down a little bit further, we have the layman terms. So just that general feeling of fear, dread, nervousness, and uneasiness that can populate in many different situations. And we'll go into some of the, in a little bit later, we'll go into some of the areas where these things may pop up.
Thanks, Sierra. So next we're going to kind of go over how you know when you're experiencing anxiety or when maybe somebody else is experiencing anxiety. So we have the DSM criteria, like Sierra mentioned. That's going to be restlessness or feeling on edge, being fatigued or easily tired, a hard time concentrating, feeling irritable, muscle tension, and sleep disturbance. Other symptoms can also be very physical. Clinicians, we at Southfield Mental Health, we take an anxiety inventory with all new clients. And these are some of the questions that are on there. We ask, are you having hot or cold sweats? Are you having indigestion or nausea, trembling, irregular heartbeat? These are all questions from the Beck anxiety inventory. And so it's important to remember, like when we're feeling anxiety or when we're having a mental health need, that can look really physical. It can look like a physical ailment.
Also add to that for children, if you have children in your life, a lot of times the symptoms of anxiety can be physical. So if a kid has a stomach ache, it might not be that there's something going on with digestion. It might be that they're feeling anxious. So we found this wheel of life, different types of wellness that we have in our lives. And obviously, life isn't perfect and shouldn't be. And we're all on a continuum of building wellness in these areas. And things don't have to be perfect for them to be whole or for them to bring you wellness in your life. And we were thinking about the ways too that all of these different areas, so I'll just read them. There's occupational wellness, social, emotional, spiritual, intellectual, physical, environmental, and financial, how these things can be really intertwined. And when something like a global pandemic comes, maybe you can't go to church. And so that can affect your spiritual wellness, as well as your social wellness, as well as your emotional wellness. And like Sierra was saying earlier, when we have anxiety, that might be a sign that something in one of these areas is off. So it can be helpful to look and say, oh, do I need to have more social wellness and talk to a friend? Or do I need to have spiritual wellness and practice mindfulness? Or physical wellness, do I need to get out and go for a walk? So all these things come together and can affect the way that both we get anxiety, maybe because our finances are all off, or also ways that we can like draw on resources to help with our anxiety. If that makes sense.
So next we have when anxiety becomes overwhelming. So what are some things that you can do, adding on to some of the examples Elizabeth just gave for when you're feeling anxiety, or for how you can support somebody else when they're experiencing anxiety? So reaching out for help, I know it was already said in our check-in that individual therapy can be a really wonderful resource. Places to look for individual therapy would be Psychology Today, looking for mental health resources in your general area. I know sometimes there can be access issues with therapy. And so reaching out to clinics and whatnot and asking like, is there a sliding scale? Or if maybe you're underinsured, can you ask if there are student clinicians like us at SMHA? We have student clinicians who see clients pro bono or who see clients on a sliding scale if there's that financial barrier to seeking services. Other places for finding support could be community spaces, religious organizations that you belong to, such as St. David's, or finding community support in clubs or social places that make you feel fulfilled. Finding support groups. There's a lot of virtual support groups right now that are for specific areas, but that because of Zoom and whatnot, that they're able to reach more people. And we'll go over some of those resources a little bit later. And then developing coping strategies. So like the mindfulness activity Elizabeth led us through, Sierra's gonna take us through another one later. Medication can be a really wonderful assistance to anxiety, and talking to your general practitioner or a medical professional about some of the feelings you're experiencing could be really helpful and fruitful to your general wellness. And then psychoeducation, reaching out to the internet and reaching out to literature to help you better understand some of the things you're experiencing or that a loved one is experiencing. And when we think about supporting somebody else in anxiety, recognizing those signs. So thinking about, okay, this loved one that I have is experiencing a lot of things that I saw on this list of, oh, it sounds like they're feeling really fatigued. It sounds like they're having a lot of stomach problems and things like this, and they've gone to the doctor and things aren't helping. Maybe they're experiencing a little bit of anxiety. Validating those feelings of your loved one and listening to what they're experiencing, and then providing support with what they need and meeting them where they're at. So asking like, would it be helpful for me to help you find a space where you can talk about some of these things or find others who might be experiencing this, and meeting that person where they're at.
So here we'll go through one practice coping skill. With this, we'll be doing a mindful meditation. This will be doing, we're creating a safe space. So we want to take a few moments to close your eyes and create a safe space. It could be a grand pasture somewhere. It could be on the top of a mountain, whatever this safe space is for you. And then now find yourself within that safe space and be fully in it. You could feel, if you're in the grass, feel the grass in your toes, or if you're on, on the top of the mountain, feel that breeze coming through. So while you're doing this, you want to be able to take notice of any thoughts that may be distracting you from this safe space, and just being able to completely try to focus in on being fully in this space and fully in where you're at. So we'll take a couple of seconds here. Okay, so now slowly bring yourself back into this present moment. And this is just a way to be able to help us train our mind to recognize what thoughts are coming in and being able to distract us from the focus that we want to have. So when you are dealing with some anxiety and you're having a lot of different thoughts coming in like a wave, you can really be able to try to take a moment, do some deep breathing, and go back to your safe space and really find that grounding, kind of similar to how we did the grounding exercise earlier, where you're just being able to really center yourself and find that that point of safety.
So I'm going to share some take-home activities, and there's a lot here. There's 6 here, and I'm just going to go through them slowly and just see what sticks out to you, what you might want to keep trying. So the first one is smell the rose, blow out the candle. I did this with kids, 6 to 9-year-olds, and basically you inhale through your nose and then just breathe out through your mouth like this. And that really helps to calm the body. I find myself doing that a lot, and it's even better in a mask. No one, I mean, not that people don't need to see you, but I do that a lot just to calm in moments. So that's one you can just do in a meeting or in class or whatever you do in your life. Another one that I find really helpful is looking at the corners of a room or the places that the wall meets the ceiling. Not every room has 4 corners, but it can be very grounding to just look up and slowly trace your eyes to the different corners in the room around you. The next one is one that I heard from Resma Menakem, the author of My Grandmother's Hands. He led a somatic exercise that helps you feel safe in a space, especially for the anxiety that comes from experiencing trauma, because your body is trying to make sure that you're safe in a space. And so symptoms of anxiety can come up. So you can look up and look down, and then you can move your body so you're looking all the way over your left shoulder behind you and all the way over your right shoulder behind you. And that way you can see there isn't anything coming to the left or to the right, to the up or down, and you can ground yourself in the space. The next one is develop a friendship with ourselves that extends to others. Another way I think of this is, just being like a self-witness, a self-accompanier. You can think of it as self-parenting, but having a kind voice in your head that is asking you what you need in this moment and accepting that, and approaching emotions or feelings without judgment as you would to a close friend or family member. The next one is increase present moment focus, feeling alive in the here and now. And we can think of one very simple meditation taught by Thich Nhat Hanh, who just passed this week. So just when you're inhaling, you can put your hands on your belly, and you can say in your mind as you inhale, breathing in, I know I'm breathing in. And as you exhale, you can think, breathing out, I know I'm breathing out. Breathing in, I know I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I know I'm breathing out. The last one is tuning into our internal experiences, self-awareness, getting to know yourself and what's arising in you a little more. And our bodies and minds can give us clues about how we're doing and what we might need. So developing this kind of calmer baseline so that when there's a signal, we can listen to it and calmly decide what to do with our internal experiences. So feel free to try these now and in your lives.
Thanks, Elizabeth. These are some resources that we compiled, generally used for these lifelines are used for in a crisis, and recognizing that sometimes anxiety can get so overwhelming that we need to reach out for immediate help. And so we have the Suicide Lifeline, the Trans Lifeline, and then the Detroit Wayne 24-hour helpline. So that's a number you can call 24/7 that if you're having a mental health crisis, they can help connect you to someone. And then they have additional resources in there as well. And then these last two are a couple of virtual support groups. The Michigan Virtual Discussion and Support Group on Mental Health offers a whole bunch of different support groups at different times of the day for families, children, adults, healthcare providers or first responders. And so that's a pretty cool resource and that's free. And then the Anxiety Resource Center is another Michigan resource in Grand Rapids, but they offer a lot of virtual services, groups, workshops, and reading groups. And most of those are free. There's a couple of workshops on their website that have a cost, but they also have free virtual groups if that's something you're interested in checking out.
All right, so now we'll just start the Q&A session. If you guys have any questions, we have some starter questions here. Just, what things stuck out to you, what might be something you incorporate into your everyday wellness, and then what other coping skills do you think others could find useful? So now we'll just open up the floor for anybody who has any questions.
There's another resource in the chat, which is calling 211, the United Way helpline, to get connected with support as well.
This might sound funny of a way to kind of practical mindedness, but when you have a mind that's like a switchyard of an old railroad, like mine, and I found that it really helped, especially after men passed. I needed to quiet my mind. And the only way I could do it was just playing solitaire on the computer, just mindfully clicking through it, thinking, making myself only think about the cards and everything. But then my mind could also drift over to calming, because my mind is very hard to calm because it goes off in multiple tangents constantly. And I have to learn to loop it. So that might be something that you have, that you can do. And I still find that a nice way of spending 10, 15 minutes at my end of the day, just relaxing